Hi everyone, Brienne from Pigment here today. I'm going to be coloring the Goblin King and special kind of significance because David Bowie's birthday is coming up in January. So happy birthday to David Bowie, who has long since passed. So I'm going to do this in commemoration for him. I'm going to be using a bunch of different tools and just putting it together, kind of showing you how to do maybe some textures with bricks. And yeah, just having fun with it. So let's get started. So I'm going to go down to my black and whites, and then I'm going to pick out, I'm going to want my fade, I believe, just to start. And I'm going to make sure that I'm on freehand mode, which I am. So I'm going to do this to evenly distribute color. I'm not going to worry about if I go over these guys because I'm going to do them over later. So I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to focus on getting in my background. So I'm going to tap the black over here, and then I'm going to go and get this dark gray. I'm going to tap it over there. I'm going to get the light gray, kind of put it there. I want to create kind of like a vignette. So actually, that being said, I'm going to go to my fill tools and grab my bloom. I'm just going to lighten up the center. Okay. Now I'm going to go to my splatter brush. And I'm just going to kind of get the splatter tool in there. You don't need a high opacity for the splatter tool. It's very, very powerful. So it's very low. My brush size is pretty low too. And I'm just going to get this lighter color in here. And layer with the darker, kind of going around where the vignette is. The even lighter one, maybe a smaller brush size, and lower opacity for the light, maybe bigger brush size. Pressing very gently in my opacities all the way down, and you can see that I'm still getting significant coverage here. I'm just using the darker tones to blend out the lighter stuff. So back to the dark one after I do the light, and then I just kind of go over it again to blend it out. I don't want it to look like splatter. I want it to look more like concrete speckle, right? And you look at like stone and you get like that almost like speckle look, like rough. So that's why I'm kind of blending back and forth, layering up the different tones. And then kind of lost what I wanted with my bloom here, so I'm going to go back. I just wanted a little bit lighter around him. Kind of like that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on automatic mode. And I'm going to kind of just add some definition to these bricks by using, no, I think I'll stick with the splatter for now. I'm just going to kind of get the corners in. And it's just kind of making those bricks kind of come out of the wall a bit. Look almost like a 3D-ish kind of effect here. But I'm not coloring in the whole brick. I'm just kind of getting the base color in there. And then it'll look like it's popping from the wall a bit. Okay, and now that that's done, I'm actually gonna go and grab my blur tool. I'm gonna turn down the blur amount, though I don't want it that bad. I just want it a little bit blurred. And it just kind of evens it out so it doesn't look so stark. It looks very kind of natural transition. I'm actually, I think, gonna get a little bit of rusty kind of red color in there too. So I'm gonna go back to my splatter, deepen up that red. I'm just gonna kind of get like a little bit in there. I want the opacity down more than that. Brush size a little bit bigger. And I don't want a lot of it. I don't want it to look like, oh wow, that looks red. I just want it to look weathered and kind of rusty almost, like just old brick tower, right? Then I'm gonna grab this kind of orange, and then I'm gonna go back to my colors. And I'm gonna even it out with the gray a little bit and just kind of blend it. And then I'm gonna go back to my blur. I'm gonna blur it out a bit. And then I am going to grab this brown and I'm going to, actually I think I'm going to use the paintbrush tool. I'm going to bring the opacity down a bit, bring the brush size up a bit, make sure I'm on automatic. And I'm just going to kind of add a little bit of brown in with these bricks here. Just in certain ones, it doesn't have to be perfect. I just want it to look like weathered old brick castle. So wherever you think the brown could go, and you can even, I just darkened up the brown, and you can even get around the edges of some of the bricks with the darker brown, just to kind of show that it's all around. Because if you see bricks and they're weathered, it usually isn't just on the brick, it's usually around the area, right? Just to kind of give a little bit of realistic effect. I'm actually going to work a little bit of this brown just in here. Don't press hard though, there's no need to press hard. I'm using paintbrush because it kind of has like a streaky texture. So that's why I'm using that. Then I'm going to go back up to my grays, and I'm just going to kind of blend it a bit. And you see like that red is kind of showing through a bit and kind of looks very weathered. Actually going to use a little bit more of the red, just randomly. And then can use the darker gray. I'm thinking maybe use the sand. Just trying to work out what I'm trying to do here. Not the opacity up that much. Kind of adding some random shading to the stones with the sand. I'm adding some dark areas because naturally it would kind of be dirty around the bricks, right? And not look perfect. So I think that that is actually okay for now with the bricks. I can always do a little bit of touch-ups later. I'm gonna go back to splatter for a second. I just want to kind of get some ground texture in here. Okay. Now I'm going to use the wood tool, and I'm going to make sure I'm on automatic. I switch back and forth so much, I just always check. And instead of just filling it, I'm gonna actually just color this in manually with the wood. I'm just using regular type brown. trying to get in all these little areas here. Get all the way around to the other side. I always seem to accidentally hit the eraser button. I just go freehand when I get into like small detailed areas, because it's just, I find it so much easier covering it than being restricted within the lines, so that's why I do that. Okay, now that we're done that, I'm going to deepen up that brown. I'm just going to kind of add it into the deepest areas of the wood. And then I'm going to lighten it up, bring the opacity down, brush size down, and just kind of add a couple lighter areas too. Okay. It's kind of filling it all in now. It doesn't have to look perfect or even. It actually will look better and be more distressed look if you don't worry so much about it being perfect. It'll look better. I think I'm gonna need my freehand again. Just kind of trying to add some green. In the wood. So I'm blending different colors and layering them. I'm trying to get like a really interesting kind of wood effect if I can. Okay. Now we can kind of move on to these guys. I apologize that you can't see it really, really close. It's because I did all that work in the background first. But you'll get to see it coming together very, very shortly. Because I'm going to just get all my colors in place and then I'm going to shade it after. So for the Goblin King, I'm just going to use straight up fill, no pillowing, no nothing. I'm going to add all my shading in after myself. Now I'm trying to think. Oh, I didn't fill these areas back here. Do that quickly. I'll finish that later with the wood. Okay, so that's all I really need to do for skin for him. And then these guys down here, I was thinking about using kind of a pukey green. Because they're supposed to be goblins after all. They're going to get shading. They're not going to look that green when I'm done. And then I'm just going to actually step away from the goblins and I'm going to work on David Bowie here. So for his outfit, I believe I want some purple. I was just going to fill everything, but I changed my mind. I tend to do that sometimes. So I'm going to grab like this kind of deep purple. I'm going to layer it. And then I'm going to grab, I think, the green again, but a dark green. And I'm going to kind of put that on his cape. I'm using pillow fill this time. Now, it's not going to stay like that because I want some browns. And I'm just going to kind of work that brown kind of into the... I'm on freehand, so it's going to bleed a little bit on the chair, but that's okay because the chair is brown anyway. I just want to make it look a little bit kind of weathered and distressed a bit. In his boots, they are going to be black. If you get small areas and you're finding it hard to pinpoint them, just zoom in like I just did. It helps. Now like that. I hope it's, maybe it should be shaded, I don't know. I'll have to figure that after I do the hair because I'll have to do it over again anyway. So for the shirt, I was thinking like, make sure I'm on the fill tool here. Like kind of like an off-white gray, but maybe not. Maybe like this tealy green. Oh, okay, I like that. Okay, so I did get my colors in place. Now I got to do all the shading and the detail for the outfits. I kind of shaded the top a little bit brown. I'm going to go back to these purples here. I'm going to get my airbrush tool out. Going to make sure I'm on automatic now. I'm just going to kind of lighten up little areas on this shirt here. I'm using the airbrush tool right now for this, and I'm just kind of going back and forth with opacities and brush size to kind of achieve a look that I'm going to be satisfied with here. I want the under of the pants to stay dark. Shade it. And then for the teal top, I'm going to get some little bit of a darker areas. I always do that. I always kind of lay down my colors and then go in and shade and highlight after. It's just kind of the way I do it. Even when I'm doing grayscale. And then I go in after and I add in my highlights and everything. He's going to be eclectically dressed. That's how I remember him in the film. I don't think he was always wearing funky stuff. Like even his shoes had heels. I'm pretty sure these shoes, like these shoes have heels on, but in the movie, I'm pretty sure his shoes had heels too. He was an eclectic dresser, that's for sure. Or whoever designed the costumes. I'm just adding a little bit of highlighting to the arms where it's ruffled. just kind of getting these greens balanced somewhat. Because I want the cape to be a slightly different shade than his shirt here. Okay, now let's do his boots. So his boots I'm going to add shading to as well. I'm using the airbrush for his clothes. I just like the way the lay down works for the clothes. So his boots are black, but they're going to have obvious shading on them. No black boot is just, especially in the light, it'll have shading, right? Or highlighting, especially if they're a shiny boot. Then I'm just going to highlight over the shaded areas with white. So they kind of look like they have some sheen to them. And then I'm going to do his hair. Now his hair, if I remember, was like a gray kind of white. So I'm going to use the pillow tool. If I remember, that's what color it was. I'm pretty sure. And then that's what I'm going to use for his hair. The airbrush out here. Kind of color match that. Okay. Just gonna get it a little bit darker around where the face is and where it touches the clothing and the root line. I hope I'm remembering his hair color. It's been such a long time since I've washed it, but I'm pretty sure I remember it being in gray. Grayish, whitish. So I'm going to grab the white and I'm going to add some highlights in it. And I'm just kind of going back and forth with the darks too. And I'm just gonna add some individual streaks here. It's actually probably better I'm on freehand mode for this. So I'm on low, well, very like the lowest brush setting, I believe. I think it's actually on 1 or 2. What is it on? 1. And I'm just adding streaks in the hair with the airbrush. I don't care if they're perfect. I just want you to see it, like when you're far away, you're going to see that he has the detail. If it was like a close-up portrait, I would make it a lot neater, but I find when it's a smaller picture like this, it doesn't make as big of a difference. It actually looks better, a bit messy. Okay, so his hair. So I'm just going to color in his eyes white again. And then I'm going to grab this black. And I'm going to go around the rest of his eye with it. Because if I remember, I'm pretty sure in the movie he wore eyeliner too. Almost positive, really. Just going to outline his eyes in black, even more so than they were. And then I'm gonna pick out this skin color here I got. I'm gonna darken it up, airbrush it, make sure I'm back on automatic mode. I'm just gonna add a little bit of shading to his face here. And a little bit of highlighting as well. And I'm going to shade his hands a little bit too. And I believe this is a ring here. Go to my laser, pick out my white. Just gonna add a little bit of sparkle there. And then just want to lighten that up a bit. Airbrush and just kind of add a little bit of highlights to the hands. I missed the rest of his cape here. So we'll go in and color that because I missed it. I'm guessing that this is probably part of his cape too. So we'll just get it all. And get this bright green. Okay, then I got the rest of his cape that I kind of neglected or missed there. And then let's get his amulet. Now, I'm trying to remember what color his amulet was. I'm gonna go to metallic. I'm gonna fill the middle in that bright blue. And I think I'll fill in the outer that color. I'm gonna go to laser. Go to light blue. Laser is good for adding shine and gemstones and jewelry. I use it a lot. As you can see, I used it on the ring, and then I just used it on the amulet around his neck. So it's really good for that. And you can also use laser to highlight skin. So I can bring the opacity down here and bring the brush size up just a bit. And you can use it to add deepen highlights in the skin if you want. It works great. I use it a lot for that as well. And then I'm just gonna add, actually, since I have my laser out, I'm just going to go to, where was I here? It's on these purples for the pants. And I'm just going to, it's too light. Hold on a sec here, I gotta get it right. That's better. Now I can go to the white and just kind of add that little extra sheen to the boot. The laser has like a glowing effect around it, so it does add a little bit more of a highlighting effect when you're trying to achieve it. That's why I use it, so don't be shy to try out the laser tool. It works really great for a lot of things. Just gonna tone down the highlight here. There, I find it's a bit much on the finger. Okay. So I'm pretty sure we got our David Bowie colored there. I'm gonna fix up the chair a little bit more. Go back to my wood tool here. Kind of get some highlighting in there. And then I'm actually going to not use my wood for a second. I'm just going to use my airbrush. And I'm just going to bring it down to a smaller brush size and dark. Actually, I think black would probably work best. So I'm going to bring up my black. And then I'm just going to kind of go around these creases with the black in behind them. I just put it on freehand mode as well. And then I'm going to grab a lighter brown. I'm just going to kind of add in a little bit of random highlights in the wood. Okay, now I can get my steps filled in here. So I'll probably do that like a gray, and I think I'm just going to use the concrete fill for this. Use the concrete fill, and then I'm going to deepen that up and go to my airbrush and just shade it out a bit. And now we can color our goblins. I'm going to do the orb last. So for the goblins, I'm going to do the same thing I did with him. I'm going to fill in all the color, and then we'll go from there. So go to fill. I'm going to give him orange hair, and then I'm going to give him red hair. And then they're going to wear really ugly clothes. Not ugly, but they're goblins, you know what I mean. I know his hair looks pretty bright orange there. That's probably a bit better. And go to my falling leaves color maybe. They don't have to be like dressed to impress or nothing. Like I just said, they're goblins. Okay, now I'm going to use this green since I have it out. Airbrush. I want to be on automatic now. And I'm just going to work it into this goblin's face. I know the green was really bright that I used to initially fill there, but we want them more like a snotty goblin green. And this goblin sitting over here does not look impressed. Just fill in his eyes with like a creamy color. Same with this guy, like a cream. And over here, some darker eyes underneath. I'm just shading in the face a little bit. just color match to fix something there. And this will just get his mouth colored in greenish, black. Use this brownie color for the teeth. I doubt he would have white teeth. Shade the hair. I'm using airbrush for all of this. Blends colors very nicely, so that's why I'm using it. Get in with the red. Color match the red, darken it up, and shade it. Go and get this guy some eyebrows. I color match a lot, as you might have noticed. And then I'm gonna get this green back, darken it up, shade the hands a bit. Just adding a little bit stronger shading to the face. Color match the pants, make them look a little bit more dirty and worn. Same with this guy. And there's nothing crazy that I'm doing. I'm actually just going around adding shades and highlights to these guys. I'm actually going to grab the metallic fill tool for this guy's helmet here. Tap the points so the shading's towards the bottom. Then I'm going to go to laser. And just kind of put little sheen around the points, not super sheeny though, just. And I gotta fix this over here, I just noticed. So I'm just color matching and put an unintentional streak over there. Adding a little bit of shading behind boots. Back to my greens. Just adding some highlights to their face with the fluorescent green. Into their fingers and hands. And go back to my fill tool for a second. Since I did the helmet like a metallic, I'm gonna also do these little pads like 1, 2. Go back to my laser, grab that light gray, bring it up, bring it down. I just want to add a little bit more detail to the hat there. Play with your opacities to get the effect that you're looking for. And then this guy here, I'm not sure what's going on with him. So I am just going to fill him with pillow, like a darkish green. And I'm going to fill his hair in like a brown. Or maybe I should do it like that because maybe that's their kill. I don't know. I'll keep his face like kind of a normalish color, I guess. And go to the airbrush. Kind of fill in his eyes. Shade his face. Just gonna lighten this up. I'm using airbrush for all of this. All I'm doing is adding streaks of highlights in places and shading in places and just kind of having fun making these guys look a little bit scary cool, I guess you could say. So we're almost done. I just want to try something with this orange here. Why not add a little bit of texture to this guy's hair? And that guy too. Okay, so now the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to do the orb. So I'm going to I'll just fill it. Then I'm gonna a lighter blue here. And then I'm gonna use the airbrush to kind of just And then we're going to freehand and we're going to laser. Lost my color, so I'm just gonna put it back here. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of glow and then we're almost done. I'm using the plasma tool and touching lightly to get like these bursts of light around the orb. So I did the blue and then the white to get the bursts of light. And then I'm just going to grab my pencil for a second. And I just want to get a little bit of texture and light in this guy's hair here. And same with this guy. Just get a little bit in there. And a little bit on the floor too. And there you have it. There is, I'm just going to fix this one area. Or you can just go on forever sometimes. Just go on forever and never end. So there is my picture to dedicate to David Bowie for the Labyrinth and his birthday. And it was a lot of fun to color. I hope that you learned something from the video. If you have any comments or questions, don't be afraid to comment. This is Brianne from Pigment, and I'll see you guys all soon. Have a great night, everybody.